What's up, guys? I picked up this not a little while ago. This has been a long time now. As you know, we constantly pick things up and we put them on the shelf, and then we're gonna get to them. We intend to get to them. Then they sit around forever. Well, one of the things that I picked up was this right here. And I don't know how good or bad these are. No clue. So, I'm gonna make it. So yeah, a little bit of background, just a little bit here to kind of get us underway before I start this whole project. A long while ago, I was buying up gunpla. That's specifically what I was doing. I wanted to get a whole mass of gunpla that I could work on as soon as I found the actual free time. Because sometimes when I come into a little bit of money, I like to get a couple of long-term projects, things that I know will take up a couple of days, actually give me activity and things like that. And then when I actually have downtime, which I don't find myself with often, but hey, when it hits, I want to have something that I can put into that downtime. And this is something that had been catching my attention for a very long time. I knew that they did stuff like this. And I, of course, am the kind of person that likes action figures. I like gunpla and things of that nature. And so it hit me that it would be really cool to have the opportunity to build some of these anime figures. I bought 2 of them. I bought Future Trunks because for the longest time he was my favorite character. And I bought 18 because she was there. It was her or Goku, and I decided her. Because Goku, I figure he'll still be around. He's not exactly going to be a chase figure. In fact, now there's 3 different versions of him just sitting at Target right now. So I didn't miss out on anything. I'm not missing out on anything. And I also bought her under the impression that I would get Krillin later and they'd go together and it'd be really cool. But I never made them. I don't know if these turn out to be quality or if they're garbage. I don't know. Hopefully, these turn out to be a really solid build and then I can go from there. I mean, I have decently high hopes. It's Bandai, and that alone gives me some sort of hope, because it makes me feel like they're already doing gunpla. How could they mess up this? I realize these are 2 different things. Robots are definitely going to build differently than humans, but I have high hopes that this turns out really solid, because if it does, this is probably the route that I'm going to take to start collecting and putting things onto the Dragon Ball Z anime shelf, because it just makes sense to me. This is something I like to do, and if it's a solid build, then this is the route that I'm going to go, more so than buying a bunch of action figures, because there's something about building these things that connect you to it in a deeper level, and you take a little more pride, and you kind of really dig into the details more. You see every piece, you see every detail because you're building it. It's just a different kind of experience. That's the idea so far. Let's jump in. I'm going to make a couple parts here and there and talk about the experience as it goes, and then we'll talk about the figure. Okay, so first thing, right off the bat. Before I put this face on, these are the faces, and they're solid, to be fair. But the way we get this effect that you're seeing right here, where it's got actual eyes and everything, and it's got the pupils, and it's got the eyebrows, that is what a face looks like before we put the face on. That is a face off. It is... That's crazy looking. I just wanted to show that off before I finished the faces. Alright, so I finished the head, and this is what it looks like when it's all done. Let me get to focus here. There it is. That's actually really solid. That's really, really, really good, actually. I'm pretty impressed. As you'll notice, there are some seams in the hair. It doesn't put together absolutely perfect. I shaved it down the best I could. See, I'm pushing it in and everything. I've done what I can to get it there, and this is a model, so we assume that it's not going together absolutely perfectly, but that looks like a fine head, and the face is really solid. I chose this one because it's more of a neutral face, and I figure the looking down face very much is for very specific types of poses that you want to do, and the attack face, shooting a blast, if that's specifically what you're going for, that's fine. But I am really going to go for a thing where she could stand alongside Krillin and whatnot, so this is what I'm going for. Now let's continue. So I definitely wanted to point this out. Before I close up her shirt, are you seeing this? They had me build the bomb. That's the bomb. The self-destruct mechanism, the bomb inside of 18 where she puts her hand on her chest and decides she'll blow herself up. The bomb that Krillin had removed with the wish. Yeah, that's it. That's their destruct bomb, and we're never going to see it. But that little bitty detail, I actually just built into 18. So before I close her up, before I put her chest on, I made the bomb. That is a crazy level of detail that you only get with these model kits. Alright, the body, or rather the torso, is complete. It was a fairly intricate design, but how do I put this? It's simple. It was simplistic, however. It wasn't that hard. I guess I've done this for a long time, so I don't know how I'm rating anybody's specific skill. As you can tell, I'm not worried about shaving things down or anything like that right now. I'm just kind of putting it together. And in all honesty, most of the time, what I like to do when I buy one of these is I like to run an entire thing without doing all the shave downs and everything, so I could see how it comes together without paint and everything. I want to see what the actual main line of it looks like before I start worrying about paint and applications and everything else. This had a sticker, and it was not as complicated as the mouthpiece sticker. That sticker was a pain. The one that goes in her mouth right there, that was a pain. But, of course, it was a tiny sticker, so of course it was a pain. Let's keep going. Let's start working on the arms. Alright, so the upper body is completely done. And this hasn't taken me all too long. Some of these projects, like some gunpla, take a really long time, in all honesty. This hasn't been all that bad. I've been working on this for about 3 or 4 gunpla news videos, so I guess it's been about an hour. But in an hour, and keep in mind I'm filming while I'm doing this too, so I keep debating when to pick up the camera and talk about it. I'm also dealing with other things like letting the dog out and stuff like this, so you probably could have gotten this far in 30-40 minutes, in all honesty, if not quicker, depending. The build is very simple, but looks and is intricate enough to really be standout. This is a pretty cool piece so far. These might be the way to go. And like I said, I really liked that inside detail. But she's halfway done. We need to finish her legs now. And then we need to get an idea of the overall and whether or not these are worth the money. So this is unique. I've never come across this before. We did the stickers for this. And then these two pieces right here, they're like a latex rubber material. I've never seen that. In the whole time that I've ever done anything like this, and I guess keep in mind I've never done like figures, I've always done gunpla, I've never seen this. But before I put the skirt on, let me just say, the legs, they're fine, and you're never going to see that, but boy, did they shape that booty. She's, yeah. They gave her that butt, 100%, so in case for whatever reason you happen to be able to see the butt, it's there. But you're never going to see it So it's funny that they even bothered to shape it out, because like once this goes on, I can't imagine that you're ever going to see it or ever going to notice it. But boy, did they go out of their way to make it shapely. And so this is her. This is exactly what she ends up looking like. She came with a blast effect. She came with 2 faces. She comes with an extra belt so that you can actually hook her up to a stand that you can build. The 2 extra hands. She's solid for what it's worth. This is a pretty good figure, and you know what? She'll go on the shelf pretty well. In fact, there she is. There's her on the shelf alongside the other figures, and she looks great. As we back out, she looks like she completely fits with everything else. So, in conclusion, I do actually feel like she works. I feel like you can make these figures and set them right alongside the rest of your anime stuff, and they will look terrific. That was a legit concern of mine when I started the project. See, I've bought some of these that don't turn out very good. Sometimes their pegs and whatnot leave these little scars. They leave little scars, and then it's hard to get around the fact that the scars are there. You notice them. Sometimes the pieces don't fit together as well. Some of the Pokemon stuff, by the way, is a prime example of what I'm talking about. There are ones that work, and then there are models, there are builds that are just bad. And that's not to say Gunpla is always perfect. I've made plenty of Gunpla that have not been perfect. They've been far and away not perfect. But overall, my dog's trying to get into the room. Overall, these are solid. So if you see them out and you've been considering getting these, I found them at Target. I found them at Hobby Lobby. And specifically, I bought one from Target and one from Hobby Lobby. And these are good. I'm now on board. I now believe that they work well enough and believe that they're simple enough builds. Well, they did give me about an hour and a half worth of work. I sat here for about an hour and a half, maybe a little less, maybe a little longer, and keep in mind, I'm filming. So these are not complicated builds. They're not overly ridiculous builds. They won't take you an entire day to do, and when they're done, they're pretty good standard action figures that can do decent poses and have a variety of faces, articulation options, hands, and so on and so forth. These are solid. I'd say that if you've been on the fence, like I've been on the fence for a long time, I finally built them, and I think they work. This is a solid build. I'd give it my thumbs up. So if you're looking for something to do, if you're looking for a couple hours to spend, if you're looking to get some more anime figures on the shelf, but you don't want to shell out the money for what some of these action figures are starting to cost, because let's be honest, to get some of the Dragon Ball Z figures, you could be spending upwards of $100 a figure. And then I'm not talking about the little cheap ones or whatever, I'm not talking about the $25 Build-A-Figures either. I'm talking about the figures, like from Fig Arts or something like that. You could easily shell out over $100 for a Goku, for a little Krillin, for an 18, or you could build a pretty decent one and get almost the same thing. Are we talking about exact? No, we're not. You understand the quality that you're buying, but you seen her. She looks great on the shelf, and she would look great on your shelf as well. I think these are fantastic. And I'm now interested to see what the other ones turn out like. So, that was Android 18. Figure Rises is what this seems to be called. Dragon Ball Z Model Kit Figure Rises, Android 18, Bandai. I think it was a solid build. Later on.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.